capital punishment in the Netherlands. It was abolished in 1870 in criminal law after the States General recognized it was cruel and uncivilized. The bill was introduced by Liberal Catholic Minister of Justice Franciscus van Lilaar, and debated in both the Senate and House of Representatives for 7 days before approval. Following the abolition of the death penalty, life imprisonment was made an official punishment in 1878. A few years after gaining independence in 1815, the Kingdom of the Netherlands determined that the death penalty could be carried out through beheading. Between 1945 and 1952, several war criminals from World War II were sentenced to death by the Bijzondergerechtshof for treason of the State of the Netherlands and the deportation of Dutch Jews. The last persons to be executed under military law were SS officers Andries Pieters and Artur Albrecht in March 1952. Capital punishment remained a legal military option until 1983, when it was explicitly forbidden in the Constitution of the Netherlands. In 1991, all references to the death penalty were removed from Dutch law. Today the Netherlands operates a clear policy against capital punishment, not participating in extradition if the suspect has a chance of facing execution. The last executions in the Netherlands took place on this date in 1952. Dutch SS volunteer Andries Pieters and German SS man Artur Albrecht, both condemned for war crimes committed during the Nazi occupation. Each was implicated in numerous incidents of torturing and executing prisoners. Andries Pieters was a Dutch war criminal and, together with Artur Albrecht, was one of the last 2 people to be executed in the Netherlands. Pieters served as a volunteer for Nazi Germany on the Eastern Front. When he was wounded, he returned to the Netherlands, and in the final months of World War II he led a SS commando in the Netherlands, which tortured and executed resistance members and others. Pieters was born in 1916 in Lexele, Eastern Dutch East Indies, as the son of a Protestant missionary. Pieters was frustrated during his childhood, as he was not allowed to play with native Indonesian children. His father was stern and was recalled to the Netherlands due to mismanagement. In 1924 the family returned to the Netherlands and settled in Groningen. His father started a furniture shop which went bankrupt after a while. Pieters claimed this was caused by Jew people. After failing at school, Pieters joined the armed forces of the Netherlands. In 1941, 1 year after the invasion of the Netherlands by Nazi Germany, Pieters joined the Vrijwilligerslegion Nederland, a foreign volunteer force of the SS. He was sent to the Eastern Front. In a police interview in 1947, Pieters said the reason he joined the Vrijwilligerslegion was because of his upbringing. He was fiercely anti-communist, and therefore wanted to fight communism. Near the end of the war he was wounded. SS leader Heinrich Himmler gave orders to small groups of SS members to return to their home country and start a guerrilla war. These groups were under command of Otto Scherzeny. Himmler gave Pieters a carte blanche to do what he considered necessary. In early 1945 he joined the Jagdverband Noord, West in Neustrelitz. Pieters held the rank of Untersturmführer and commanded of a group of 30 men, which he there trained for secret fighting missions in the Netherlands. The group of men was known as Commando Zeppelin or Commando Steinbach, after the pseudonym of Pieters. In 1949 the trial of Pieters started. There were dozens of witnesses of both the torture and executions against Pieters. In June 1949 he was sentenced to death by the Bijzondergerechtshof of Amsterdam. An obligationary appeal was launched, with the main question surrounding the responsibility of Pieters regarding the executions. He admitted being involved in the torture, but claimed the executions were carried out by his subordinates. A German SD officer was already sentenced as the prime suspect in the case of the executions. The Court of Appeal quashed the sentence by the Bijzondergerechtshof of Amsterdam. The case was reassigned to the Bijzondergerechtshof of Haarlem. The Pieters received a life sentence. The prosecutor appealed the sentence. The Court of Appeal was divided on the issue, with 5 for capital punishment and 2 for life imprisonment. In November 1951 the Court of Appeal sentenced him to death. Pieters then sought a pardon by Queen Juliana. He claimed that his bad youth experiences and a misplaced sense of duty to fight against communism had motivated him. He saw it as part of angry psychosis. A pardon was regular practice. As of 154 death sentences, only 39 were actually carried out, while 101 received a pardon. In 1951 there were only 7 death sentences remaining to be discussed between the Queen and the Dutch Minister of Justice, Hendrik Muldery. Muldery sought as many death penalties as possible, while Queen Juliana sought the opposite. A compromise was made, with 4 receiving a pardon and 2 were to be executed. Another case would be decided later. Pieters was to be executed, together with German Artur Albrecht. In January 1952 the Dutch Minister of Justice, Hendrik Muldery, called the crimes committed by the group of Pieters to be among the worst during the German occupation. The Dutch judges called his crimes the most serious they had seen during all their cases after World War II. On the 20th of March 1952 Pieters was informed of his execution the next day. He started a small prison riot, which could only be put down when his attorney calmed him down. Pieters was executed, together with Albrecht, before a firing squad at the Welsdorper Lake on the 21st of March 1952, near The Hague. They were the last persons to be executed in the Netherlands. Wilhelm Artur Albrecht Penzig, born on December 15, 1903. He was a German war criminal and the last German war criminal to actually receive the death penalty in the Netherlands. Albrecht worked as a police commander in Germany before World War II. From 1935 he was employed by the Gestapo. During the war he held the rank Hauptsturmführer within the SS. In September 1944 he was transferred from Ghent to Leeuwarden, where he became the Oberkommando of the Sicherheidsdienst and Sicherheidspolizei. In that position he was responsible for maintaining order in the province of Friesland. In that position he was actively and passively involved in torture and executions of suspects. Albrecht is responsible for the execution of dozens of prisoners, particularly as a reprisal for successful resistance actions, such as the reprisal in Dokkum. On the 5th of May 1945, Albrecht was arrested in Ardenhout, dressed as a non-commissioned officer. He was sentenced to death by the Special Court of Leeuwarden. On March 21, 1952, Albrecht was executed together with Andries Pieters on the Welsdorper Lake. This was the last execution of a death sentence in the Netherlands. Capital punishment had been abolished in the Netherlands for ordinary crimes since 1870. Although execution remained theoretically available for military crimes until 1993, nobody after Pieters and Albrecht came close to facing an executioner. Today, the death penalty is completely forbidden in Dutch law.